Unleashing chaos, the craziest war tactic of the Roman army. Introduction, masters of strategy and shock. The Roman Empire wasn't built solely through politics, engineering, or diplomacy. It was carved into history by legions of disciplined soldiers and the commanders who mastered the art of war. Over centuries of relentless conquest, the Roman military became one of the most efficient and terrifying forces the world has ever seen. Their battlefield tactics were not just about strength, they were about control, deception, and often chaos. Among their many innovations in warfare, one tactic stands out not just for its effectiveness, but for its sheer boldness and unpredictability. This wasn't the traditional testudo, tortoise formation, or the well-known pincer maneuver. No, this was something darker, something designed to break the enemy's mind before it ever broke their body. It was a tactic rooted in shock, surprise, and psychological collapse. This is the story of the Roman army's most insane war tactic, a maneuver so wild, so unconventional, that it could unravel entire enemy formations before the first sword was drawn. A move that transformed Roman battles from orderly clashes into moments of calculated chaos. 1. The art of war, Roman style. Before diving into the chaos, it's important to understand how the Roman army operated. They weren't a force of reckless berserkers. Rome's strength lay in structure, discipline, and ruthless efficiency. Every legionary was trained to follow orders to the letter, every unit drilled to perfection. But even the most disciplined army needs an edge, something unexpected. The Romans knew this. While their backbone was structure, their victories were often secured by adaptability and innovation. They studied their enemies relentlessly. They copied weapons, absorbed cavalry techniques, and adopted foreign gods when it suited them. They were not too proud to steal tactics from the Greeks, Carthaginians, or even barbarian tribes if it meant winning. Among the arsenal of Roman tactics was one that combined fear, speed, and betrayal, turning chaos into a weapon. 2. The fake retreat, the ultimate psychological weapon. The tactic? A deliberate fake retreat followed by a hidden flanking ambush, executed with such precision that enemies often believed the Roman army was in full collapse. This maneuver wasn't invented by the Romans, but they perfected it to a terrifying degree. It was a mixture of performance, patience, and planning. At first glance, it seemed simple. A Roman unit would break and flee in apparent panic. The enemy, seeing this, would surge forward, excited, overconfident, hungry for victory. That's when the trap was sprung. As the enemy forces overextended themselves in pursuit, the retreating Romans would suddenly stop, regroup, and fight back, joined by fresh Roman units hidden on the flanks or in the terrain. The result? Chaos, confusion, and complete enemy collapse. This tactic was especially effective against tribal armies and overzealous generals who lacked discipline, and when it worked, it turned battles into slaughter. 3. The Battle of Cynoscephalae. Chaos made perfect. One of the best examples of this tactic was during the Battle of Cynoscephalae in 197 BCE, where the Romans faced the Macedonian phalanx, a formidable wall of spears and shields. The phalanx was nearly impenetrable head-on, but it was slow, rigid, and vulnerable to terrain and disruption. Roman commander Titus Quinctius Flamininus recognized this. So, when a Roman detachment encountered the Macedonian advance guard, he ordered a controlled withdrawal, making it seem like the Roman line was faltering. The Macedonians took the bait. Their line pursued, broke formation, and charged into uneven ground. That's when Flamininus unleashed his second line. Fresh, well-positioned legionaries that hit the disorganized Macedonians from the flank and rear. What followed wasn't a fight, it was a massacre. 4. Barbarian panic and the collapse of enemy morale. The brilliance of the Roman fake retreat wasn't just in physical destruction, it was in psychological warfare. For tribal enemies who valued honor, glory, and brute strength, seeing their foe run away was the ultimate victory. They couldn't resist the chase, but that chase often led to death. During Caesar's campaigns in Gaul, he often exploited this psychological weakness. In one account from the Battle of the Sabus River, Roman light infantry appeared to fall back in panic before ambushing the advancing Nervi warriors. The forest concealed Roman reserves that sprang from the trees like phantoms. The Nervi were crushed, not by superior numbers, but by tactical deception. 5. The role of terrain and speed. Executing the fake retreat required mastery of terrain and timing. Roman commanders scouted battlefields thoroughly, noting hills, woods, rivers, and choke points. A fake retreat on flat land could,